Yeah, hey everybody. We're a little bit late getting started. Troy and I were having a conversation about change and how we're both cursed with the same affliction of wanting to change stuff all the time. And I feel like I want to change
Yeah.
my office and my quote set around again. Troy, I've been wanting to change the set around forever radically, and I think we talked about this a while ago. But I want to change it away from this whole home office metaphor where we're replicating our cubicle in our spare bedroom to more of a loungy kind of, here's a couch, and yeah, you could sit down with your laptop or your iPad and still do the stream, but it's more loungy instead of, this whole YouTube mic camera lights thing. I don't know. I feel like it's
I know,
time
I
for an
know. And
evolution of the space. It's time for an evolution. I'm tired of the
and and I
camera and
laughed
mic thing.
because I said that Frederick is just looking for a reason to tear everything down and reorganize. Because that's what
Yeah,
it is. Because him and I are like,
yeah,
there's been an earthquake, everything fell off my shelves. Yes, I get to
yeah,
reorganize.
yeah. I'm in that mode. It's annual, man. Like I get in this mode of like throwing stuff away and giving stuff away and downsizing everything, and it happens in my closet too. Like there's like every year there's a pile of stuff that gets donated, So I don't know. I don't know. Now I need to do it with tech. Hey everybody, we're gonna start the critique in just a second, but the that's what we're here for. But the I just learned. You probably knew this a while ago, but you can trade in your old. No, you told me this. You told me this about the Eero. Being able to trade in
Yeah,
your Eero. That's
yeah,
Amazon though. But on Apple,
yeah.
you can do it with your old Apple gear. So we've been buying Apple gear for a decade plus now, right? At least 2 decades. So I've got a bunch of old stuff that I feel bad giving to somebody because it's outdated tech, but I don't want to throw it away because it still works and it's great. So I got on chat with Apple through the app, because it's basically a messenger chat. I got on chat with them and I was asking, hey, what do I do with all this stuff? I want to buy new stuff, but I feel I don't want to buy anything new when I'm just adding to this pile of hoarder tech. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can just bring it in. Just bring it in. We'll take it. We'll give you a
Yeah.
credit. I'm guessing pennies on the dollar, of course. I'm probably get more if I sell it on Facebook or
Yeah.
eBay or something. But the headache of selling on Facebook or eBay.
But it's nice too because if you want to get rid of the e-waste, right? Like I've got an
Yeah,
old Apple monitor that nobody's gonna buy because it's got the old connection and it still
yeah,
works, but nobody wants it. Like I could throw it away, but I don't want to do that. So I just take it back to Apple. They recycle it if it's recyclable. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
I
yeah.
am not trading in all of my old iPods and iPhones and watches that I
No,
have
those are
anymore.
historic. Those are historic. Yeah. Yeah, I envision like an evolution of man display from a first
No,
first iPhone all the way through to whatever is the latest and
I don't
greatest
know
with
where
a
it's at.
dotted line for the next one, a dotted line outline for the next one.
I want 100 Apple watches, but they can be old watches. I don't care. I want 100 watches. I'm
For
gonna
what?
build a thing. I'm gonna build a
Oh.
thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I could
Hey,
donate
yeah.
one or two. Yeah, we got old
I
ones
need
floating
I need a
around here.
lot. Well, yeah, I need a lot. So I want to build a thing.
Yeah. Crazy. Good. These are the problems. These are the kind of things that Troy and I talk about on, this kind of nerdy, techie, geek stuff. But it's important. It's important. I've been
Yeah.
on the edge of being able to, I feel like I've been on the edge for, I don't know, 5 years, 4 years now of being able to move into an iPad first modality instead of MacBook
Ooh.
Pro, being able to edit using Final Cut on the iPad, being able to do these kind of live streams and all that using just an iPad, maybe connected to a display, but using the iPad as kind of the center of my universe. And I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if I can do that yet. We're getting
I'm
closer with
not
this
there.
USB-C connection on the phone, at least. But I feel like there aren't many things that I can't do on the iPad that I can do on the proper computer. But there are still a bunch of things that I need to do, which is kind of conflicting, but I'll explain
think
later.
I think the mobile device workflow is a unicorn, at least for now.
Red herring, chasing the horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
not
I want it to work. I want it to work.
Not for a
All
pro
right.
workflow, not for a lot of, not for a big workflow, but for some stuff.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, in the end, it's like Adobe. I think Adobe has a lot of it right with how they're syncing Lightroom with like Lightroom mobile syncs to the cloud, of course. And I was doing this we had a gymnastics meet this past weekend, and I'm sitting there in the audience as the good parent, right? And in the downtimes, I'm on my phone editing stuff, just playing around, in Chat GPT and all these apps. I'm just playing around, and then I bring an image that I created into Lightroom, played with it, and then I had my little iPad Mini with me. So I opened up the iPad Mini, launched it, boom, picked up right where I left off, and then you come home and pick it up there, and it just it's kind of they've got that piece done. It's a seamless transition, but it is. You still, and there's so much stuff. Like, folks, if you haven't played with Lightroom mobile yet and just really dove into the power and all the things that you can do in that application, because if you look at it, you think, oh yeah, it's just another Photos app, whatever. But that thing is deep. I mean, it is in many ways a pro level app on the phone right now, let alone on the iPad. It's crazy what you can do with it. Well beyond anything we had in the past with past version of Lightroom on the Mac. Lightroom Mobile does so much more than you think if you haven't gotten into it. So take a few minutes, dive in, play with it. Speaking of taking a few minutes to dive in, we are here for a photo critique. Are you ready for that? Last time we did this 2 weeks ago, you picked morning routine as our topic. Care to say anything about that before we dive in? Morning routine? Your thoughts?
I'm just going to say it was kind of a pathetic turnout. I'm just going to say. I don't. Apparently, we found the exact topic that almost the entire community did not like.
Yeah. What's up with this? Like, what is it? That's my private time. Morning routine? How dare you? That is my private time. I can't share any of that stuff.
It's great.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a repeat of this one, because I feel like there. Yeah, I feel like there's a there, but for some reason it didn't make it into the
next topic
critique.
is going to be easy. Yeah, the next topic will be really easy.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing what that is. All right, let's do this. This will be relatively quick because you folks didn't submit that many images for this morning routine for some reason. Yeah. What was it, like 4 or 5 in there?
There's 5 images,
including ours
and mine.
Yeah. Oh my God. Whatever. All right. Well, we'll shame you folks in person at the mixer when we see you, or inside of the community. All right, here we go. Let's share my screen here. Here we are in the community, a morning routine and photo critiques. Let's slide on down. Who was first? Rick Killboy popped up with shower and shave. Let's take a look. Okay, what? Okay, this is a shower head on the left, and those are, I'm guessing, razor blades close up on the right side. Yeah, very cool. Hard
I like
water.
It.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Yeah, I have it. That's why I recognize it. Yeah. So, give me your thoughts. What do you think? So, what is this called, Troy? I know a triptych is 3, obviously. What's 2? A bipic?
I don't know.
A pair?
I don't know. It's a triptych minus 1. It's
That's the formula.
Yeah.
I
like it. I like it a lot. I think it's really clever. I think that, getting closer, doing more of a macro shot is really nice. I would say to go even more abstract and more macro. It's easy for us to see what we have here, and
that was me. I'm trying to put you on the screen, but the software is not letting me put you up. So I'm like, let me put Troy up. Wait, that's not Troy.
Oh my gosh.
We'll figure this out eventually.
So I mean, I love the topic. I love that it's black and white. I like the balance. You know, the left image. You know, you've got the three nozzles, and you got that one center that's in focus. The blades are a little bit on a diagonal. You know, that like 7 to 14 degree kind of thing. Like I like that. I think that's super cool, and I like the treatment and the presentation. I would just lean into way more macro, way tighter, just more abstract, you know. But I do like it.
Thank you, Rick Kilboy. Rick Kilboy in the chat says 2 equals a diptych. Yeah. Okay.
I'm not going to say that out loud. I don't even know how I can pronounce it.
I know. I was going to say. I don't know. That sounds. Yeah, that could be something else. Yeah, you're. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, I agree. I like punching in, because we're already abstract on these, because you know, I knew what you and I knew what the topic of this was, so we knew to kind of, you know, okay, this is something related to a morning routine. Oh, shower head and blades. Okay, you know, of course, by the title as well. But punching in even closer, if possible. Yeah, would have pulled this. I like how he inverted this to throw us off. He inverted the shower head on the left to throw us off, and that really worked, because I had to really think about, okay, what are those? What is that? And my first impression of the blades on the left side were, because my brain was in the shower mode from this side, so I move over here. I'm thinking, oh, that's the track for the shower door at the bottom that you slide over with. There you go. This is blades. Very nice. I like it. Very cool. And the black and white treatment, you know, so black and white and square and telling, and the story, right? The narrative of illustrating this with 2 different things from the morning that we see every single day. I think this is great. It's really good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Killboy. Awesome. All right. Troy Miller, Oolong. What's this about?
Well, you know, it's kind of that whole idea that, you know, lean into something and really not make it super obvious what it is. But if somebody is familiar with your subject matter, they'll recognize it. Other people might not. So that's what this is, right? It's a tea bag with a little tea bag string hanging over the edge of the coffee cup, or the tea cup in my case. And I chose to focus only where those 2 intersect. So,
yeah,
like more abstract.
Yeah, it is very abstract. Yeah, it's warm too, because you feel it's so interesting, because the way the mind works, right? You could give it very little information, and it will still, you know, do kind of a mental generative fill for you and let you know what the thing you're looking at is, you know, because this is very little information here for us to pick from, but our brains see that shine of the container and the curve of it and the pattern, and instantly think pottery, probably mug, right? Oh, a string hanging out. Oh, teacup, you know, must be a teacup. That must be a tea bag. And brown must be tea, right? So we put it all together, and it's interesting how that happens. I wonder if an AI could do that. If you gave it this image, because you know how you can give it an image and it'll recognize it and tell you what's in the image. I wonder if it could recognize this, like something as or any abstract shot. You know, can it see that and kind of discern what's in the shot without seeing the entirety of the object?
That would be cool.
Another test.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Another test. Yep. Very cool. Very cool shot. Is this your pottery, by the way? Did you do this?
Of course.
Okay. Good. Very good.
All the pottery you see is my pottery.
Yeah, most of the pottery in my cabinet is your pottery. Thank you, sir. All right, here's another shot. This is mine. This is just a morning shot of, you know, the mundane process of checking the shower to making sure it's hot enough, which it never is. It's got to be painfully hot for me.
Ooh, nasty.
Yeah, and this is a shot, FYI. This is a shot, a harvested shot. So I pulled this from my library. I looked at the metadata, the original. This was shot with a a Canon PowerShot G9. You remember those?
Oh wow!
A point and shoot with basically the silver thing with the slide over camera cover, and the lens pops out automatically. This was that, and I think this was like the second day I had it or something. It was brand new. Doing this shot, but it was fun. Just capturing the shot.
Yeah, very nice. I do wish, though. I mean, you've got that little the little finger is a little close to the edge, and you've got the thumb with all that gap. I'm sure AI could fix the right side of that image, and we need a little cropping. We need a little cropping in there. Come on,
Yes,
Frederick.
I know. I thought about that because this was literally taken, I think, in 2009 or something. But I was like, you know what? Should I go ahead and how much should I lean into this? Like, take this in and use generative fill and add some to the right side, maybe make it square, and so the hand is more in the center, and do all that. But I was like, I think I'm gonna leave it as imperfect as it is, because this is a state of imperfection at the time. Well, I mean, we're still always in a state of imperfection, but this is I didn't want to mess with it. Yeah. I did think of a composite though, Troy. I thought of a composite. I was like, wouldn't it be cool if you put like a boat in the palm of my hand there that's in a storm or something? Just have it, kind of sailing in there. That'd be an interesting composite if I could pull it off. I think that would take Renee Robin powers to do that.
Or just Mid-Journey it.
Or Mid-Journey it, yeah. Yeah, or Photoshop. Just draw a little mask in there and say boat. Boat in a storm.
Oh, you should. Yeah, we should totally do that. I'm gonna do a screenshot. I'm just gonna do that while we're talking.
Do it. Or you just drag it off of the page, Troy. You don't have to screenshot it. Just drag it off the page.
That's easy.
All right. Yeah, do it. I want to see what it comes up with. Craig Stamfley's up next. He says, the circle of life. Yes, this is. Life is coffee and coffee is life.
Oh my God.
Said Troy Miller. Never.
Never. Oh my God. This is just making my nose itch just looking at it.
This is delicious. Look at this. This is delicious. This stuff right here powers the world, my friend. This powers the world.
It does.
Imagine what you could do if you were caffeinated. If Troy Miller uncaffeinated is as productive as you are, imagine what the caffeinated version of Troy Miller could pull off, man.
You don't want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. So what do you think?
I love this shot. I like this shot a lot. And what I really appreciated is the intentionality of the way that it's, composited, not composited, the composition and, the balance and the choice of depth of field and stuff. And it looks to me like even the cup that's holding the beans is raised above the table to probably give it more depth so that your depth of field falls out just right. But either way, I really enjoy that. I think the lighting looks like morning light, like window light, and the contrast is really nice. The balance is really nice. So well done, Craig.
Yes.
Image comp worthy, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, squared circle, right? Squared circle. Look at the geometry in here. So square, circle, we've got diagonal lines. Everything is very well placed with the random element of the beans on the table, right? Even the beans in the cup are circular. The beans on the table represent kind of the chaos that adds to the interest here. And then we've got our, a strong shadow on the right side, which lets us know where our light source is coming from. But yeah, it's really cool. Only thing I would have done differently, I think, as a if we're being critical, which I think that's what we're here to do, is I'm not a fan of that key line in there. I feel like that takes away from it. I don't know if you even need that in there. Like it's another geometric element, another square within a square within a square, drawn by that. And I think if the background was too similar to the border, then I'd want to separate it with a light stroke like that. But I think in and of itself, it makes its own key line by just being there. I don't know. You're the border master. What do you think? Border Patrol, Troy?
I like it. No, I like it a lot. I think it shows intentionality, and I think that it shows, the completion and everything. Mm-hmm. I like it. I think it's nice. It's subtle. He didn't go white, which would have been too stark. He went gray, and I think that really works. Yeah, I think it works nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I want to see it both ways, but I like it. Yeah. What about the color in this? Do you think this needs color? We all know the color of coffee beans, right? Do you think this as a stark, contrasty black and white would be good, or leave it as is?
I would leave it. I mean, I think the world would look wonderful in black and white. I think it would look great. However, this works really well with color because of the coffee bean, and it's really kind of monochromatic anyway because you really only have the brown. So it
Yeah.
feels that the color is not distracting in any way. If there was a bunch of color on the background, like a really busy tablecloth or something, I would be like, okay, yeah, we gotta reduce that. But
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. This is really good. Really good. Love it. Stanley for the win. All right. Moving right along, Mark Charette shared this one. Uh, yeah, I encourage you folks in the community to read what Mark wrote here. It's really interesting. So he basically, just paraphrasing, he was invited to do a 360 shot of this Australian artist's kitchen who had recently passed away, and he wanted to capture her home to do homage to her work. And this was a perfect fit for this particular challenge or critique because this is where she prepared her breakfast coffee with a strong shot of whiskey and a puff of green. I'm guessing what the puff of green is. I don't know if that's illegal. Is that legal in Australia? But yeah, I love this. This is a really cool, interesting shot. Let me bring it up here. Okay, there we go. Cool.
Mhm.
What do you think? This is almost look, and mind you, this is a frame grab from what originated as a 360 shot. So he harvested this shot out of it in post, which I think was also another layer of cool. So, what do you think?
I love the shot. I mean, images like this are always really intriguing to me, whether they're, fully panoramic or they're just a sort of a snapshot and it sort of documents somebody's life, which I think is super cool. Um, the thing about this is there's so much going on in this photo, and I just want to reach into it. And I did. I zoomed into it and I read everything on the refrigerator and I looked at all the cups and it's busy, it's cluttered, it's full, but it's not messy. So I love that. And all the colors, the sort of HDR that's going on in there, we can see detail out the windows. Mark did a fantastic job with that. So I love it. And I think this fits the morning routine topic really, really well. Because if you walk into the kitchen every morning and that's where you start, like that's your routine. So I really like it.
Yeah,
I think it's really wonderful and it's really well done. So Mark did a fantastic job.
he did. He did. Yeah, yeah, it's so interesting what you can do with it with 360. It's limiting in some ways, but it's so freeing in a lot of ways because you're basically capturing an entire environment at once, along with the distortion, right? Because this is super wide. You can tell by the distortion of the circles and the rectangles that are in the shot that it is. If he pan to the right a little bit, the distortion changes. So you kind of feel that, but I don't not like that. I think that actually adds a bit of drama to the shot. We talk a lot, Troy, about how these shots should in some way tell a story or build a narrative. And sometimes we think linearly, like it should be this, that, where's the character, where's the protagonist, where's the antagonist, where's the conflict and all that. This shot is on its own like a set. So it feels like it's already a small part of what was a really long and interesting story. And this is just a kind of a vignette captured out of that. So, yeah, I like it.
True. But we also have to be very, very conscious of the idea that you can't just walk into a space, snap a photo, and call it done. Like you have to look at the space, and I'm sure Mark was intentional about that. Where, for me, the main subject is the kitchen window, the plant there. That's where it's the brightest. That's a place that we stand, look out the window. So I feel like that's our subject. That's where I'm drawn to, and then the oven or the stove or the cooking place and the coffee cups and how they're all lined up. Like that really attracts us. And then of course, I think the secondary hook is the sign that's hanging on the refrigerator. It's something that it makes you want to read it. So
Yeah.
it's more than just walking into a space and pushing the button, right? It's walking into a space and thinking like, okay, where's my vertical line? Where's my horizontal line? Is there something in the center that's going to be distracting? You know, and finding that balance. So I think that's really well done here.
Yeah. Good job, Mark.
Good
Very
job,
cool.
Mark.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be neat to see the whole tour. I looked her up. There's really hardly any information on this woman. So
Really? A
yeah,
local hero.
yep, yep. She's interesting. Yeah, look her up. She didn't believe in like doing commercial shows and things like that. She was very much just a full time artist and just sort of live that life. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what her space looked like. I like that. So
Yeah, yeah, cool. All right. Up next, Phil Lewenthal. He said this morning's Instagram post: "A gateway from Yom Kippur liturgy is rich with metaphors. One of which is a gate that one hopefully passes through. It's complicated. Blah. Well, okay. Let's take a look." So he said this is an iPhone photo of his computer screen, and left a little light reflection on the top edge of the morning. Okay, of the monitor. Okay, I'm not sure what is going. So Phil, why didn't you just share the image? Like, is this shot a shot of what you see in the morning, like going through Instagram and looking at comments on your posts is part of your morning routine, which is perfectly valid. Because I dig this. What do you think? What do you think, Troy? I'm curious.
yeah, that's my takeaway is that, this is what he does in the morning. He gets up and he makes his post, and does his thing in the morning. So I think that's probably what this is.
Yeah.
I think it's neat. I like the reflection. I like that little reflection on the top left because it makes me realize that this is a monitor. It's not a powerful image in and of itself, but it's a really good documentary style image of something. And I think that, this would go well in his biography, so I like it.
Yeah. And it's timely. Look when he took the photo.
Yeah.
This morning at 7:30. Look at that.
No,
This is what
it doesn't
Phil
say
Lewenthal was doing. It's 7:29 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, that's on that. No, nothing's awake that early. Not even if you're up, that doesn't mean you're awake.
I am up. I'm up. I may not be up, but I am up. Yeah. Yeah, you see, this is spoken from a guy that doesn't have kids living at home anymore, right there. See?
I was never up.
No. Don't bother Dad. He's still asleep.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like that one. All right. Nora Zanotinus is our last one. Look at that. It's only 12:32 as we stream here in California.
Yeah, make sure you refresh. There is one. There is at least one more.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
I should refresh as well, just to make sure.
I shall.
Yep. I like this. I like this a lot. This is this is really fun. I mean, it makes me want some fruit, other than what's in my smoothie every morning. So most of this is in my smoothie in the morning, just not in the traditional spoon sense. This is, and I hate to compare images. I always hate to do that, but like, I wish that the fruit in the bowl was slightly out of focus, like what Craig did with the coffee beans, and then the spoon was more in focus, so it created some depth. Right now we just don't have that depth. It feels kind of flat. So I would say, if you're not going to create that depth, just put the spoon into the fruit, and just that's your subject, right? But if you're going to scoop it out and you're going to show there's depth, use the depth of field for that, or some sort of perspective.
Yeah, because it's back to the whole subject thing, right? What's in the spoon is a subject. We're going to push the rest back just a little bit. These are our supporting characters in the background, and this is our hero here. It's a little noisy. You see the noise? Is that coming through on your side?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
but I don't mind that. I mean, I feel like it's it's almost film grainy from that standpoint. It has a little character to it. The one thing I would say is I don't know, because even when I brought this shot up, I'm trying to pan down because I'm like, oh, I'm cutting off the image at the bottom, right? But it's actually cut off at the bottom like this. Let me see if I can do that in Ecamm. If I can get back over here, let's see if I can uncrop this. There we go. Okay, so here's the full image. So it's not actually cropped off, but my brain wants more, maybe either less space up here or on these three sides, because there's none down here, or
Right.
some space on the bottom. You know, maybe some space below the fruit with just the spoon kind of breaking that line, or punch in closer so that this all these extra pixels out here don't matter much. So you crop in a little bit closer like that, maybe intentionally cutting off some bits of fruit like we're cutting off on the edge here. And that intentional cutoff shows that, oh, that stuff's not that important. This is important here. So maybe turn it upside down and make a face out of the strawberry and the blueberries. Very cool. All right, let me reload the page here. Let's see. Sorry, Nora. I'm going to go ahead and edit this real quick and just make this full screen. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's mess with my OCD. So let's reload this here. Okay, reloading. Okay, on down. Ah, here we go. Karen Sweeney. Not my morning routine. I'm far too rotund to fit in a tree hollow. Nice. Very cool. All right, look at this little person peeking out of there, shaking off in the morning. There's a morning bath. Look at that.
Yeah, I'm
Good
trying
shot.
to.
Are you cropping?
Where
Uh-oh. Troy's cropping. Troy's cropping again. You guys missed it. Yeah, Troy's cropping.
Images over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I see, Karen, I see what you did with, you wanted to keep the water droplets off to the right. I struggle with the fact that you've got the bird right in the middle. You know, it feels almost dead center. So I don't know, maybe just a little more cropping from left and bottom, but I don't know. Doesn't necessarily have to be. But I love the shot. I think that it's so interesting. I don't think I've ever seen a shot of a bird sitting in a hollow taking a bath. So valid morning routine. I love it. I really do. I just want it to be cropped a little tighter, you know, less foreground of that branch.
Yeah. Make our little hero here the more of the subject. Yeah, because without this, I'm guessing this is a birch, right? So without the birch, this much of the birch in there, we still get the message that it's a birch. Like we were saying before, you need very little of the supporting environment for our brains to know what's going on there. So even if you cropped in this tight, like right here, then we could see the splash a little bit more and less of the birch, and it becomes more about our critter here. Our critter, is it soft on your side, Troy? Are you seeing softness?
Yeah.
Or just a little bit, right? It's just a hair off, which you could probably be sharpened up in topaz or something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, maybe. It looks to me like critical focus is actually at the very front of the tree hollow, the hole right there. So it looks like
here,
that's
right there.
Yeah, that looks like that's where focus was grabbed. So.
Yep. Yeah, but Karen, I'm curious. I wonder if you could fix this. I see a little halo around here. You see the halo around our birdie? Right there? Right along its back. Yeah. So, yeah. And I think with the in Photoshop, I'm not, Karen, I know I think you're on Affinity or using Affinity, not still, but you're using Affinity. I don't know if Affinity has the object selection tool that Photoshop has in it, which is kind of magical. Because that tool, you just click it and roll over the bird, and suddenly there's a perfect selection of the bird. And then you inverse it, and now you have the background. So, or otherwise manipulate the mask. So, yeah, like going around and doing dodge and burning like this on a subject like this, especially one with these intricate feathers popping out above the background and this very dramatic shallow depth of field drop off back here. Yeah, picking the bird out very precisely is key to sell this illusion, I think. So.
True.
Very cool. All right. So, do you have a favorite, Troy Miller, from our little tiny pile of submissions?
I
know what you're gonna say. I already have it up. I know what you're gonna say.
Despite the coffee in the photo, I like Craig's. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I like this one a lot. I do. Yeah, because it's got the geometry. Yeah, I'm a winner. It was sucker for geometry, especially he's got his diagonal lines here, like just perfect going corner to corner here. So that
Yep.
diagonal is great. And you could have cheated a little bit and rotated a little bit more to get them even more diagonal, but I think that's great. I like the geometry of circle in a circle, diagonal, square, all that. It's all working. Even got little ovals in here, I guess, if you count the coffee beans that Troy
Yep.
loves.
Yeah,
So if
no,
you hate the
it's
smell of coffee, you should go to like a Pete's Coffee or a Starbucks or something. Ask them to give you a coffee bean, just chew it and see if how you feel.
God, no. I would vomit on the floor. No, look, so just to clarify for the world, it's not the smell of coffee like in the coffee cup or even the smell of like the coffee beans. It's when they're being freshly brewed or they're being ground. There is an intensity in that odor that it just literally sets off like my nose, like it's an allergic reaction. Other
Wow.
than that,
Wow.
I'm totally fine. Like
Wow.
I get it. Yeah.
And that's the part where coffee drinkers love the most. Just the fresh brewed coffee smell or the fresh
Yeah.
ground coffee smell. That is part of the whole coffee experience. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well, that's
not a
interesting.
choice. It's not a choice I
It's
have.
biology.
It's
It's biology.
it's a
Yeah.
yeah, it's an old
Yeah.
age thing, I guess. I don't know. Once you crack like 50, your body goes, "We've decided that you no longer can smell ground coffee. That's it.
Well,
That's what we're going to do."
it happens. It happens. Yeah, I had a friend that had that same kind of reaction to cilantro. And anything with cilantro in it was vomit inducing, which was kind
Yeah.
of barred a lot of Mexican foods, I guess, because there's a lot of cilantro floating around there. Oh
Yeah.
well. All right. So Craig Stampley, you are our favorite shot of the week. Congratulations. Go have a cup of coffee. And tell Troy how delicious it is. We got to next time we meet up with you, Troy. We're going to be on a mission to introduce coffee into your world or
Yeah.
reintroduce it. Maybe it's a whiskey thing. We've had too much
It won't
whiskey.
work. No, it won't work. I will tell you what was really weird though is because I had COVID like 2 months ago. I recently regained the ability to taste tea and cilantro. I don't know if there were other things I couldn't taste, but I could not taste
Oh wow.
tea or cilantro, and it just recently started to come back very slowly. So weird. It's so weird. Just tea and cilantro
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that you know of, right?
that I know of. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
All
So
right. Tee us up for next week. What's our topic for next week?
I think the kids need to go out and have a little play day. So I think it needs to be open. I think it needs to be an open category, and it gives everybody an opportunity to play.
A little palate cleanser. Yeah.
A little
Get
palate
'em ready.
cleanser, yeah, a
Yeah.
little recess.
A little recess. So let's define open because we've been having this conversation. Actually, we've been having this conversation at Smug Mug Flickr as we were judging the sort of World Photography Day contest that's coming up soon, photo contest, and even in our member mixer on Friday, we were talking about telling the differences between AI and real photography, real
Right.
quote real photography. What are the parameters for this open? Can it be anything? Must it be a true image that was created by a camera with optics and all that, or is it anything? I don't know. What do you think?
I'm gonna say in the spirit of knowing our community really well, I'm gonna say anything goes.
Okay.
If you want to render it, render it. If you want to photograph it. And in reality, right, like that's really what's happening in the world is now we have real photographs. When I say real photographs, I'm not talking composites or anything that's extreme. I'm talking like it was captured in a camera and then whatever. Stop myself from a rabbit hole there. uh, we have photographs competing with AI imagery now for a paycheck. And how do we do that? So do we lean into making the AI look and feel AI, but yet fit for purpose so that it's beautiful and it does what it's supposed to do? Or do we make it look like a photograph to try to convince us that it's the right things? Like So this is what's happening in the world today, right? In photography. So I say imagery. Pick it, make an image. Give us some images. Let's talk images.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're in the beginnings, or kind of we're well beyond the beginnings of this discussion about what is real, what's not real, and I mean, we've been having these discussions about AI in photography for a while, because there are some purist photographers that will say, yeah, it's not real photography unless it was captured on film, right? Proper film. And then there's some photographers like, even then, don't crop it in the enlarger. It has to be exactly a 1-to-1 of everything or it's not real photography. Anything that uses any sort of computer manipulation taints it, and that's not real photography. But then if you look at, like, let's take for example your camera, your Nikon Z9, which is
Yep.
a supercomputer which is using AI for focusing. It's doing all kinds of stuff before it even presents you with the raw file. So where do you draw the line? Oh, you don't know what's happening, especially
Right.
if you're taking it with your phone with all that computational photography action going on in there. Where do you draw the line? Oh, it's not AI if it was created in the thing before I got to the final image. So we could say that that's real,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
there's no such thing as real. I mean, there's no such thing as real with this stuff. So where do you draw the
No.
line, I think, is the takeaway.
Not unless you grab a film camera and you go out with, with plus X or pan X or slide film, and then you show that. I
Yeah,
mean, short of that,
not even
that's
that.
the true. That's a true
Because
photograph.
some scientists or whoever made up that film emulsion made decisions about what's going to be rendered and what's not going to be rendered, and what's important, what's not, all that stuff. Especially when you're talking color film, or slide film, the different
But it's a true
emulsions
photograph,
react
though.
differently. Yeah, I mean,
But it's a true photograph, but it might not be 100% representation of reality, which is very different. But a true photograph, right, is capturing photons, and so
is it?
the,
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. The definition of photography is recorder of light. So
right,
recording light. If it's not recording light, then it's not quote photography. But
right.
does that matter? Is photography an outdated term in today's world? There's something
No, it's not an outdated
controversial.
term.
I'm just
It's not an
saying, with all
outdated.
the other ways, with all the ways to create quote photorealistic images, quote photorealistic, sometimes, as we just demonstrated in the mixer, indistinguishable from reality. Does it matter, I guess, is the question. This is a whole nother conversation. Does it
They're just
matter? Yes. If
synthetic.
it's photojournalism, if it's, you're being disingenuous, yeah, sure, poo poo on you. But if you're creating an image to tell a story or to tell a narrative, and who cares where the image came from, it's in support of the overall story, is
Right.
that good? Right? Or should points be deducted because the imagery that you use was not created by a carbon-based life form? I don't
Well,
know.
here's the short answer for that. Yeah, I think it's
Yes.
a simple answer. I think it's a really
Mm-hmm.
simple answer. It's about honesty, integrity, and being genuine.
Mm.
If it's a photograph, say it's a photograph. If you generated it, say you generated it. If it's a composite, say you composited it. It doesn't change the fact the image is impressive, but just don't try to cause, don't try to call this a shot glass when it's clearly not. That's all I'm saying.
Yes, in a perfect world, that logic is perfectly sound, Troy. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in one that's inhabited by humans that obey the laws of physics, i.e., path of least resistance. Right. So, I mean, here's an example. Right. Live Strong. Remember that controversy with
Hmm.
Lance Armstrong and the doping
Yeah.
scandal and all that? It's very similar to this in some ways, where he was doping and giving himself superpowers and winning. Therefore, other riders felt like they had to do the same in order to be competitive in that sport, or else they're just going to keep losing and never have a chance. It's very similar to this world of AI in some ways, where, hey, if everybody is doing it and winning, I have to do it in order to remain competitive. So, not saying that's true, but I'm just saying, you can't, by saying, yes, we all have to be genuine and honest and open about how our images were created, sure, that sounds great on paper. The reality, however, is the world is filled with people that lie and do all the negative things, right? And you can't on face value tell one from the other. So we're going to be in this weird period for a while until something, I don't know, until something happens to let us re-add some level of authenticity into the images that we're looking at. Because at some point, you kind of have to question everything you look at. Like, is it real? And do I care if it was real or not? Does it make me happy when I look at it? Does it tell the story? Okay, so who cares how that sausage was made, unless it's photojournalism or some news gathering or something that needs to 100% be real.
Right, except there needs to be rules. The rules need to be defined, and just because everybody else is breaking the rules doesn't mean that you should. So that's where that honest and integrity thing kind of comes up.
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong was stripped of many of his titles because he was found doping, right? Because there were rules in place. So all I'm suggesting is that when it comes to AI and imagery and all that kind of stuff, yeah, everybody could just do what you want to do, right? If you want to fake it, great. Whatever, I don't care. But when we're talking about communities and we're talking about communities that we can control, like PPA and WPPI and all of our local communities, TWiP, you
Yeah.
talk about those communities. I think that's where it matters, to your peers, to the people that you care what their opinion is. And it's always been a problem, by the way. It isn't just AI. It's always been a problem with like composites, entering images from a wedding day that somebody swapped out the sky and says, "Oh no, this is a wedding day image." It's always been an issue. We've always had those issues. It's more pervasive now because more people can do it. And so, establishing the rules, establishing the expectations, and then if somebody gets caught, there's consequences. So
Yeah.
like for us in the image competition world, if we find out that you took a photo with your phone and you call that a non-AI edited image, it's not, because there's AI
Yeah.
to build that in the iPhone, right? Or you swapped out the sky. We'll strip you of that title, or we'll strip you of those points if we find out. If we don't find out, then there's nothing we can do, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's a huge conversation, and part of that huge conversation is, yeah, we can make all these proclamations about what's real, what's not real, and
right,
morality, and blah 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 blah, all this stuff. Yeah, in our own little, and we can control it to some degree in our own small ecosystems and
right,
fiefdoms, but
right.
we also have to be cognizant of the fact that it's a large planet, and people on the other side of the planet don't necessarily give a care about what
Yeah,
rules or moralities that we say, and vice versa. So
yeah,
under that kind of worldview, global lens, it's okay. Like we were saying, I think you and I had this conversation about when everyone was signing that paper about restricting AI and usage and all that stuff, and a bunch of these big tech firms signed it, and folks signed it. And I was, at the time, I was like, yeah, it makes sense. Okay, we're gonna basically a do no evil kind of pact. But how do you sign a pact when it's not global, right? At a certain point, if you're saying, okay, we're never going to use AI for these 10 things because we feel like that's the wrong thing to do, and then we tie our hands behind our back and don't use AI for those 10 things, everyone else is going to
yeah.
continue to use AI for those 10 things, and we're just going to be left behind because we're stumbling, we're in our ankle weight. So, yeah, well,
Yeah.
how do you solve it and remain competitive on the world stage? I don't know.
Yeah, and that brings up a really good point. And I would love to see this dialogue continue
Yeah.
in perpetuity on TWiP and every other forum. Like, if you're part of another forum or whatever, start these conversations. And it's not
Yeah.
about being combative. What it's about is it's about us trying to figure out the proper dialogue, the terminology, ground rules. What does this majority of people think that it's acceptable, not acceptable? What does this group of people think? And then we can find that balance in there. Right now, it's kind of like whoever has the boldest headline wins, or whoever has the biggest voice wins. And I don't think that's healthy for the art community at all. So
Yeah.
the more we talk about it, the more that we can have dialogue around it, the better that it is.
Yeah.
Because bottom line, if somebody can get paid and they can use AI to create that image to get paid, and nobody knows, they're gonna do it, because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's how business works, right?
That's exactly how
Unless
it
somebody
works. Yeah.
tells me, I can't swap a sky and I can enter an image in competition. If you didn't tell me I can't swap it, then I can swap it. That's
Yeah.
on you for not setting those standards, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Other people are
Yeah.
like, I would never swap the sky. Well,
Yeah.
that's why I'm winning the competition, because I
That's
read the rules.
That's my point. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Your own self-imposed dogma does not indicate, what my worldview
Right.
should be and how I operate. So
Right.
because you have a high morals that say no pixel should ever be touched, that doesn't mean the pixel punisher has to care what you say.
No.
No, yeah.
It's a
So
deep,
we'll
dark,
continue this.
it's a deep
Yeah.
conversation for sure.
It
And
is. It is. Which one that needs to be had. Renee Robin and I were just chatting over Messenger about, wouldn't it be cool if ... We did a live stream where we did kind of that hot or not thing that we did at the mixer, where here's an image, is it AI, is it not AI? And she was sending me a bunch of images that she's been looking at. Oh my God, like these images are. Like, if you didn't know, I mean, we are in the mindset right now of like, okay, is it AI? Is it real? Is it not real? Okay, I can see that doesn't look quite real in that little bit. So we're examining like that. But if you're just a civilian and you come across one of these images, there's no way, especially if it's in context of something else and it's not the hero of that thing. You're no way you're going to give it a second thought. It's like, oh, look at that. That's a real shot. Especially if it's designed to fool you or designed to be realistic, right? It's not an alien or something. It's a real world situation that looks perfectly plausible. You're just going to accept it and move on. So anyway, that's the world we live in. So on, let's see, what is it? October, we're September 25th. So is it October 9th we're looking at, right? For our next critique.
Yep.
Did I get that right? Yeah. So not the 2nd, but the 9th. October 9th at noon Pacific, open is the topic for this next critique. And La Duderina asks, open means anything goes? Promptographs allowed? Yes, promptographs. Please don't let that become a
Synthetic
thing.
imagery, acoustic imagery.
Promptographs, if that takes root, or like, remember, what was it? Togs. Remember everybody was calling each other togs for a while instead of photographer? Yes, it was a thing. Oh, are you a tog? Like, no.
Not in my world,
Not
it wasn't.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was floating around for a while. There were some sites dedicated to it. But yes, you can share anything you like. And we'll just have a discussion about it. This one is open. Come as you are, whether it be AI, composite, photograph, Mark Charette 360, whatever. Let's see what you do. Let's see what you can bring. Bring the heat. Bring the heat. Right? Let's see if we can't beat this one. All right, Troy, we'll leave it right there. Any final words you want to throw out to the crew? To the world, to the listeners?
Be nice to someone today. Yeah, go out there and be nice to someone today. Everybody's having a hard day. Somebody's having a hard day somewhere. So just, be chill, be cool.
Yeah. Just off the cuff, say something nice to somebody random. See what happens. Like it. Cool. All right, we'll leave it right there. Thanks everybody for joining in on the stream. Thanks to all the folks who submitted images for this here critique. Congratulations to Craig Stampley for being the favorite with the coffee beans right there. Thank you, Craig. Very good. And we'll leave it right there, everyone. We'll see you for the next critique. TWiP members, we will see you inside the community as we post in there, and hopefully on Friday at our member mixer. And a big welcome. I see some of the new members, like I think Enrique is one of them. I see a bunch of new members in the chat. So please join us on Friday for our mixer. You'll have a good time, I promise. Cool. All right, Troy. Thank you, sir. Have a good rest of your day, and we will chat soon.
All right. Take care, everyone.
See ya.